Hi, I'm Shira,
And I'm Shayna.
and we're from How to ABA. And today we're going to talk about our role as BCBAs and ABA professionals in collaborating with other professionals. Now, there's a huge need for this, and we definitely don't know it all. We don't have all the answers. Our expertise is in behavior, but most of the kids we deal with would definitely benefit from expertise in other areas. We would always collaborate with, whether it's an OT, a PT, an SLP. We find their input to be very helpful and very informative. And the question is, when and how do you use that information?
And I don't think there's any best answer to that, but just examples, I guess. So, an SLP, a speech language pathologist, I feel like we do a pretty good job of following, assessments, language assessments, the ABLS, the VB MAP, PEAK, they all give out, how to teach language, right? So, I think we do a pretty good job of that. But sometimes we have kiddos with articulation issues, or we have kiddos who are using, some type of augmentative communication system. And yes, I've used PECs a lot in the past. And I've also used ProLoco to Go and other augmentative communication devices, but I'm not an expert in that. So typically what happens is if I have a student who is, starting out with some type of AugCom device, what I'll do is I'll put together a rudimentary PECS program or a rudimentary ProLoco to Go program and teach the student to the best of my abilities. In the meantime, I'm calling an SLP and I'm saying, hey, you're the expert in this. Can you come help me out? I need a one-off consult, or I need a consult, once a month for the next 6 months. Please help me. So I use an SLP on a consultative model. I had another student who, spoke in sentences, understood a lot, but wasn't clear in his speaking. He wasn't saying things and pronouncing things properly, but he wasn't going in your typical articulation patterns either. Like, he wasn't substituting the right sounds and what have you. So I called in a speech person and she was amazing. She just listened to him. She did an artic test on him. And she said, Shayna, do this, and then do this, and then do this. And I wrote an ABA program specifically designed to this one particular student and gave some suggestions regarding that.
And sometimes it's hard to tell what is learned behavior versus what might be a sensory issue or an articulation issue. And that's why it's helpful to get, both of you together, collaborate, consult with each other. And that way, between the two approaches, you could probably do the best for the child.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going in right now. I'm seeing a student at school, and he has a lot of sensory issues. And you may want to argue, he needs to do that or he doesn't need to do it. It's interfering. I'm not about that. I'm about, hey, listen, I was called in because it's interfering with what he's doing in school. The recommendations that I have are that he needs non-contingent breaks during the day, and he needs breaks for transitions. He needs to be able to go and release some of this energy, for lack of a better word, and non-behavioral terms. He needs to be able to go and calm down when he needs to calm down and rev up when he needs to rev up. But I'm not an expert in what types of activities he should be doing. So right now we're working with an occupational therapist in the school, which is amazing. And she's saying, hey, listen, when his behavior looks like this, and we both defined it, so that's observable, measurable. And then she said, do this, teach him to do this. And he's got a series of activities that will calm him down when he's really excited. When he's really blah and not paying attention and low energy, she's designed a series of activities to bring him up. And I can't do that. I'm not a professional in that. I can't pretend that I know everything as a BCBA. So we have to look to other professionals. And I think it's only right to do so.
And we have the kids for so many hours that we can definitely do more. We have more opportunities for more trials and more exposure, but that consultative advice and opinion means that they can get even more articulation practice and more gross motor practice and more of that stuff that we can incorporate into our programs based on their advice.
Absolutely. And as long as we make things observable and measurable, and we're collecting data on its effectiveness, really, an OT, a physiotherapist, an SLP, it can be within the realm of ABA, as long as we're understanding and making sure that their suggestions are promoting progress.